Welcome back on another Sunday of the Transition Talk Show. I am your host, Train. Today we have an interesting show. I have one of my close brothers up in the house with me today, and we talked over the week, and we talked about transparency. I felt like it was something that really needed to be showcased on the show more so than in private. Today, man, that's what we're going to be talking about, transparency, with a good friend of mine, Godfrey Linwood. What's going on, man?
What's happening, brother?
I mean, you already know me, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Or you know how it go when we get together, you know what I mean? It's a different vibe. It's a different scenery.
Yes.
Especially when you can be with someone who you can really be yourself, the difference is doing it openly.
Right.
And last week, man, that was one of the biggest things for me to actually be able to do was to be able to allow people into my world, not think that people know, because there's some people who know you, but there's other people who don't. And then on a platform like this, quite naturally, you're going to get a lot more who really don't.
Right.
But in order for them to really know what it is that you do, you have to be transparent enough for people to really know who you are, to be able to really, not buy in, but actually understand,
right.
Who you are. And it's just one of those things, man, that I believe that we really have to start being with one another now. The world has already created many illusions.
Right.
So why should we elude one another? And you don't really get nourishment. You don't really get soul food until you can actually be able to be around the individuals who you can really get to the root of some things with.
Right.
And you can't do that with everybody. Man, I appreciate you for coming.
Ain't no problem.
You know what I mean? We're gonna dive in,
this is what we do, bro. This is
and
what we do.
We're gonna have a little fun, you know what I mean? To say the least, you know
right.
what I mean? But nah, man, it was good being able to talk with you, because when I talk with you, you was going through your own phase.
Right.
And things like that. Then I was like, well, how we gonna do this? Transparency, bro. Transparency.
It's important. It's very important in this day and age that we're living in to be transparent. I mean, this world now has so many outlets for you to cover up who you really are, just slap a Band-Aid on it, and then, I mean, it's a quick fix for a minute. You're going through something and you rely on social media or any other outlet or something that you can mask those emotions with, or that feeling that you got going on, and it only lasts for a minute. It's temporary. And you think about it from a social media aspect where you can pretty much be anybody, anything you want to be, but when you log off that joint, the pain is still there. So you just got to look at who you are as an individual, and before you get out here talking or speaking on any subject to anybody, just make sure that you've looked at yourself first. That's important, man. You just can't really be out here talking and
but
not doing a self-evaluation.
I'm gonna ask you though, what do you feel in Black America, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you really feel is an issue or a problem or a reason why we don't really choose to be transparent with ourselves?
I think a lot of it is pride and ego. I feel like pride and ego, nobody wants to be looked at as a failure. No one wants to be looked at as, down on their luck. So it's a lot of pride in that. And I think when it comes to us as individuals, as a race of people, because we've been quote unquote behind the eight ball for so long, when we finally get a taste of being up, we just want to stay there. Like we've dealt with the slavery and all of that, and finally as a people we've seen some opportunities where we can rise and where we have been successful. To me, it's just too much access to lies. You know what I'm saying? You have so many things out here that you can hide behind. And I think we are afraid to deal with the reality of who we are because we have those outlets to hide behind. You can go out and buy you an expensive whatever, but you really broke internally. You know what I mean? So the Louis purse or a gold chain or a nice car is status at that point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hiding behind that makes you, to some, in some people's mind, it makes them feel like, they are worthy of being accepted. And that's another thing too, acceptance. It's very, very, validation is a drug. It's worse than crack.
I think one of the things that you said, man, that I really look at is brokenness. And for me, broken only mean open, because I look at it like a heart space. And the way that we was taught, or the way that we were shown by pictures, right, is that the heart looks something like this. But if I really look at this shows me that it has the capacity to be closed off, or it has the capacity to be filled up, right? So if that's the case, and the heart is something that's always pumping, always giving, always, it's nonstop.
Right.
So if this the case, it's gonna always come to a breaking point. And the reason why, because it was never meant to be concealed. You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
So, and I say this, man, because the moment that I began to look at life from an open perspective rather than a broken perspective, I was able to then begin to deal. I couldn't deal broken.
When you say deal,
when I say deal, I mean deal with myself. I mean deal with my reality of life, in order for change to truly happen.
Right.
I couldn't deal with that when I felt broken.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it had pain to it. You get what I'm saying? And so because of that pain, it wasn't allowing me to go through growing pain to grow. But when I began to look at things as being from an open aspect, now I was open enough to be able to look at it. I was open enough to be able to deal with it, because there's some things I'm finna have to accept now about myself that I probably wasn't accepting in the beginning, that I probably wasn't looking at in the beginning. It's easy to point the finger out, but it's harder to point the finger in. And I was at a phase where I got to look at me. I got to deal with me. I got to look at, why am I constantly going through this cycle, which is another way of living insane.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? Because we gotta have something that's going straight. You know what I'm saying? You thinking that you're going straight, then you come back and say, I just seen that. I just
wrapped around.
I went in a whole circle. And it was like, man, I don't want my life just going in circles. Some things got to get straight. So something had to give, something had to change. And then the perception is what I realized had to change. So I had to create terminologies. I had to create, I had to use different words that had a different strength to it, in order to give me the strength to be able to truly be, open enough to be myself no matter what.
What was the perception
that I had about myself? Shoot, ain't nothing wrong with me.
Everything
wrong with somebody else.
And I think that's everybody. I'm not the weirdo, it's them.
Yeah.
I'm not the crazy person, it's them. I don't think like that, it's them.
Yeah.
But until you have to, and that takes growth and maturity.
Yeah.
You have to really be around the individual that's mature. You know it when you can stand with another man or another woman and call them out on some BS or something that you see that's going wrong with them, and they accept it.
Yeah.
For someone to get angry, get upset when you're really trying to tell them, hey, slow down. I see you moving a certain way, or hey, this is reckless what you're doing, and they fly off the handle. And it's so funny to me that the moment you tell somebody something that's going to be for their own good, something that can help them, you're deemed a hater.
Yeah.
Oh, you just hating. You hate. It's like, I ain't hating. I'm really trying to stop you from crashing out. You're looking bad out here. You really need to change how you look. And it takes for a person who's actually done that to themselves to be able to stand firm and tell somebody, hey, yo, I've been there. I've done it. The conversation that you and I had just this week, I've accepted who Kafre is.
Yeah.
I really don't care too much about what anybody else thinks. think it's, like I told you earlier, I think it's insane for someone to be upset with you for decisions that you make for your life. I think that's very crazy, but I've accepted who I am. I love who I am, and flaws and all. I know that there's things internally that I deal with, and I'm able to face those monsters. I'm not just gonna slap a Band-Aid on it, find a quick fix to shake it off when I know that it's still there. So it takes continuous prayer, continuous looking inward to say, you know, hey, or a willingness to even change those things, bro. And it has to start with you first.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the things, like, with me, man, is for me to be able to sit in my feeling. If I'm really going to be transparent.
To
sit in my feelings.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. I need to feel.
That's kind of scary.
You know, like, I need to
That's a dangerous
feel,
place sometimes.
Well, it is if I'm not willing to do it and actually work through it.
All right.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, when I did when I was going through the processes of putting a trauma course together, I had to relive a lot of my own traumas. You get what I'm saying? But in doing so, it allowed me to really begin to feel better about myself because I was able to see how I had been working through these things. I wasn't now allowing these things to continually put blocks or crutches on me. You know, I actually began to accept these things, you know, and work through them. So what it began to do was show me tools. See, if we don't have the tools, how are we going to do the work? And that would allow me to be able to really begin to do it because I said, if I needed some tools, I'm not the only one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of time in our culture, in our age bracket,
right,
we live up under the era of do as I say and not as I do. We live up under the era where, you know, it was not, we was taught, but we wasn't taught.
Right.
You know what I mean? More of our teachings came from observation. And sometimes those observations are nothing but another perception just as well, you know what I mean?
Right.
So now we kind of trapped because we don't have true definement towards some things. And then we live these things out until, you know, it comes to some breaking points. And then we realize, that ain't how it is. That ain't how it need to be. You know, but by this time, look how many times I got a knot on my head.
True.
Look how many times I done had pain in my heart. You know what I mean? Look how many times, man, I done went crazy in the mind. You see what I'm saying? And the whole time of this going on, I'm looking like this. Like ain't nothing wrong. I'm out here meeting and talking with people like ain't nothing wrong.
That poker face, something else, man. It'll really. Me, I'm not the type of person that can hide my emotions well. So you're gonna know off the top if something's bothering me. When I'm happy, when I'm sad, all my emotions are facial. Like you're gonna know it. But there are a lot of people that can mask that very well. And some of those people don't deal with transparency. It's like that's where validation comes in. You want to be accepted so bad that you're just willing to ride this thing the way it is. And then it's killing you on the inside.
On the inside.
Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, like, if I'm not dealing inside, no outside ain't what I want. Is what I'm accepting, but it's not what I want. But and it's gonna always be that, rather than what I genuinely want, because man, I don't have me.
That's tough. That's tough, brother. I mean, it's lonely and it's cold by yourself, and but sometimes you need it, because at a point when you can actually see you, do the work, see you, fix you, do the things, because you could tell a person, like you said, I'm not. It's not me.
Yeah.
But it's blatant and it can be seen to the public eye that it is you.
Yeah.
If everywhere you go, you're a gaslighter. There's a situation where there's a fire and you was there every single time. At some point, you gaslit that It's you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to accept who they truly are internally. I mean, they'll get it one day. That's all I can say. But it has. If you really are willing to change, and if it's bothering you, like I can honestly say, to have some things in my heart and in my soul throughout my life, even from those teachings that we had, like to have a grandmother to tell you, you can never call an adult a liar, even if they was wrong as two left shoes. You couldn't say. So a lot of the things that you saw, you just went along with it because you didn't have a voice to say. But by the time you got an adult, you might have snuck one in there. Hey, you was lying about that the whole time. But now you got to go back and try to figure out what's right, and that's internal.
Yeah.
Because you've been told and brainwashed, or it's been beat in your head that it's this way. My grandmother was one of those type. It's this, it's that.
Yeah. And
you didn't think no other way.
Yeah.
But then when you got out there and it was like, oh man, but like the water boy, but mama said like, nah, it's
and and it's crazy that you say that, man, because I believe a lot of what we're learning now, you know what I mean? A lot of what we're learning now, it should have been instilled then, and then you look at how the pattern begins to go. You know what I mean? If everyone is catching it late, eventually you're not going to have a later. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you begin to look at the percentages on blacks in America, so already like 13%, something like that, 14 something percent. But then you begin to break those ratios down in the black, you know what I mean, sectors. It's worse. Because look at it like this. If they say shortage on black male, right? Then you have a higher percentage of women, but then think about women in prison. There's a higher percentage of black women in prison than any other race. You see what I'm saying? So we keep on getting it later. We keep catching it late. We ain't gonna have it later.
Right.
So we got to begin to start to instill some things now. And especially with our young, we got to be able to do that now and be true examples of that now. And also allowing them to know that, don't hide.
Nah.
Let some things out. It's okay to let it out, but know how to let it out.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, I was older in my life when I realized I was just a bad conductor of myself. Like, it's my fault.
Right.
And I had to
you
really...
were older in life when you owned that.
When I owned it.
Yeah.
I'm a bad conductor. You know what I mean? So which also meant that a lot of things that I perceived to desire or want wasn't happening because I wasn't a great conductor for these things to exist. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had to really go and I had to talk with myself and make that talking a habit in order that before I can be transparent with someone else, I had to first be that with me. And before I can let someone else be able to do that with me, I had to do that with me to be able to be accepting of it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's all rejections. Fight, go with it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a defense mechanism at that point,
And that's what, we have to break these walls, and then rebuild them back up differently. Because we do have to be protectors of ourselves too. And I don't mean, when I say ourselves, I don't mean me protecting me. I mean, as a village, we have to be able to be greater protectors of ourselves, But how do we do that if we really don't know one another? How do we do that if we're really not in tune with one another? How do we do that if we just live in a masquerade party? Like we just, every day, we in New Orleans, this a Mardi Gras every day.
Yeah,
it's not life, man. But we're gonna be right back. We're gonna take a quick video. I'm gonna come right back with my special guest, man, Carfrey Linwood.
No shoulder to lean on. Sometimes I'm better. No shoulder to lean on.
Cops keep killing us, niggas keep drilling us. You ain't really feeling us, talking like you been with us. Judge keep on tricking us, he wasn't in the field with us. Killer be killed, that's how it is, it get treacherous. Stuck off in the cell, wanna go home, but I can't. Old head told me this home for now, young nigga, but it ain't. I'ma stand on all 10 regardless. Mama made a man who heartless. Think about my daughter, that's what made this little time the hardest. Keep it stitched lip, I ain't never told on no man. You can ask the plug from day one. I ain't never switched roles, man. I was on that road, man. CO yelling cuff up, black box on my wrist, shit. I can't even touch nothing. Tryna call baby, she ain't answer, so it's fuck her. Shoulda never trust her. She fucking with them busters, no rhymes, just a pen and pad. Hoping that I look up. 10 years of probation, ain't hoping that I fuck up.
No shoulder to lean on. Sometimes I'm better.
Thinking about mud and bricks, never thought it'd come to this. We should be at the club popping bottles trying to fuck a bitch. I got all these bricks, but that don't mean shit without the click. I gotta take a sip every time I think about your kids. Seen Jaden at the store, don't know me, but he know my name. I talk to Unc every day, but still don't even know his pain. Veronica only son gone, I know it's driving her insane. She told me watch these niggas, cause these niggas ain't what they claim. I cried 100 nights for Briss. He told me put my heart in this. How you kill Bob, bitch, even if you started it. They ain't give a shit, so she still on my target list. Get them all by myself.
Lights all over
We back, man. That was Big Bo Montana out of Idabel, Oklahoma, man. Shout out to Bo Montana, man. Hey, if y'all do want to call in, y'all can call in. The number to the show is 469-708-8609. Again, that number is 469-708-8609. Here again with my special guest, man, Carfrey Linwood. Like I was telling you, though, when we was while the video was going on, and I was telling you, you know, like with him, and I'm just being real.
Yeah.
I was a bad influence. But I look at him now, and I look at what he's doing, and what I had given was music.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in order for me to do music, I was able to do music first, not because the music was working for me, but I was working for the music, which meant I had to come up with the money to do the music. And I was in the streets. You know what I mean? Interstate. You know, anybody who really knew my background and knew my, you know, I stopped hustling in the hood early. And I began to take it down the road, you know what I mean? And he was a person who was around, you know, the people who I was working with, you know, doing the things that we was doing. And I remember, man, I think he got locked up. And he was young, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The people who I was, you know, messing with, I know getting locked up, you know? And then it's crazy because all the stuff that happened around in that time, man, I was spared. I didn't have to be. But to be real, being good to other people was good to you. Even when you was doing something that was, you know, law breaking. You know, they didn't have to be. You know, they could have folded, did anything, you know. It was families in jeopardy. You know, wives in jeopardy for stuff us men was doing, saying that we providing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I look at it now, man, and I look at what he's doing, and I'm like, man, the stuff that he rap about is real life. You know, it was ways that my mind even thought at one point in time. You know, and you see how you influence other people. Now think about that.
Yeah.
What is the influence that I have if I'm not being transparent?
Man, I look at it from a standpoint. The greatest thing that could have ever happened to me in life was becoming a father. Greatest thing that God could have ever given me was the ability to be someone's dad. Not only that, but to be a father of sons. My God, brother, you just don't know. I'm not perfect. And yes, I've done some things in my life that I'm not proud of. But I have to be transparent because they are watching me.
Yeah.
I mean, literally watching me. And my oldest is 25. He'll be 26 next month. And one of the things, just a conversation that he and I have as men, is him always giving me my flowers for being here.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I did, of course, wasn't in his sight. He didn't see that. But for the most part, I've always made sure that how I lived, because right now that this is a day and age where these kids they go for it. They're gonna tell you about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from 2 to 200, well,
Yeah.
200 is past us, but 20, they're gonna tell you. These kids will tell you about yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, being transparent and living a life before them, to where they can't come back on me and say this, that, and the third when I'm getting on to them. And I'm telling you, that's one of the things that keeps me grounded and keeps me continuously looking inward at me. Sometimes I look in the mirror. Ever since we did the mirror challenge at the lake, I do it often now.
Yeah.
That was scary in itself at the lake, to hold a mirror to yourself and literally tell yourself, give yourself words of affirmation, to pump yourself up. That even though it was a good thing, it was still somewhat scary because I have never took the time out to do those things for Kafre. I do it for everybody else. I'm a champion everybody else. I'm a cheerleader everybody else, but I don't take the time to do it for me. And that transparency alone, to look inward, makes me say, okay, it's a good thing that neither one of them jokers, Rashad or Kyle, can come back and be, well, Daddy, you didn't. Yeah. I'm going to own that, you know?
See, transparency, right?
Right.
And just listening to you, my story into parenthood was totally different. In the beginning, I wanted to be a father. In the beginning, I wanted to have the family and all that stuff, right?
Right.
But in the beginning, I lost my son. And from that loss, I didn't want no more children. Now, if I didn't want no more, quite naturally, I still started having 6, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I didn't, right? And when I had my daughter, I wasn't there. I mean, I was there physically, but I wasn't there wholly.
Right.
And I remember, man, she was 3 days out of the hospital. She was dehydrated, crying. So we had to take her back to the doctor. And I saw how detached that I was because I was still living in that fear. I was still living in that hurt from burying my son.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at the age where she was at. You see what I'm saying? And I would never forget, man, like listening and everything, I told myself, she gonna die.
Wow.
So I couldn't show compassion. I couldn't show love. I couldn't show anything. I'm just here because of a responsibility, but not because I'm naturally here.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And after going through that process, she became like medicine for me. You know what I mean? Like, man, my daughter became like medicine for me. I literally had my daughter. I would fight for my daughter to have her with me. You know what I mean? And so crazy is that when I had my son, my second son, which is my oldest because he's here, right? It was the same thing.
You didn't feel like you could have broke that a little bit, seeing that's how your daughter survived?
I was living in brokenness.
Right.
I wasn't living in openness.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? See, the thing about it is that when my son passed away, man, I cut the lights off. I went full-fledged into the shadows of the knee deep, intentionally and purposely.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my life, I wasn't looking for good. I wasn't trying to make good out of good. I wanted good out of bad because good didn't feel good. You know what I mean?
Or you didn't feel like you
trying to do
deserved
right.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to do right didn't feel good.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like I always trying to do something right. I always backfired.
Right.
You know,
right.
so I was like, man, I don't want that. And to be honest with you, doing wrong seemed to give me all the right. You know what I'm saying?
It's tough.
And so the things that was naturally for you and that was good for you, I was in rejection. You know, but she was like medicine. But when my son came, it was the same thing, bro. Go to the hospital a month before he was supposed to be here or whatnot. Doctor say, hey, we detecting something. We got to go ahead and get him. I'm in shutdown. Because that first experience, I didn't shake. Not only did I not shake it, but I didn't have support.
That's a big.
That was understanding around it. You get what I'm saying? So man, I didn't really know how to deal. I didn't have the tools. So quite naturally, I can't fix it. So what I'm gonna do?
Righteous.
Try to run from it. You know, and even though I never ran from my responsibilities, I had to grow into the responsibility.
Right.
And that's what I mean, like for me, and being transparent, it was different. Because, man, all my children was literally here before I really realized that I'm not being who I'm called to be
Facts.
to my children.
One of the things that you just said that just stuck out is also accountability. And if you don't know how to be accountable for yourself, I mean, I think we all should surround ourselves with true, loving, heartfelt people who will hold you accountable for yourself, you know. People always say, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend. It can't be your friend if you're crashing out, if you're wilding out. Let's just take the social media aspect real quick. We all know people that are our age and above that are just doing dumb stuff, bro. You just call a spade a spade. You know, of course, they're going to tell you, it's my page, I can do what I want, and if you don't like it, delete yourself. That's fine. But when I'm gone, you still an ass. You know what I'm saying? You still out here bad. And it's like, who is going to be that one true friend to pull that person? Because if you're sitting there letting them crash out, making a mockery of themselves in front of the world, you clearly can't be that person's friend. I'm the guy that's going to hit the inbox, or if I got your number straight up, hey, yo, take that down. That's really not a good look for you.
Yeah.
And accountability is everything, man. And we do, I think, with being transparent, it has to be somebody from the outside that sees you, that loves you enough to make you want to say, okay, let me go back and assess this situation, and maybe it is me.
Yeah.
But if you don't have these, you're just going to have people with their popcorn ready watching you
Well, see, the thing
make a
is,
mockery of yourself.
The thing is, you get to a point to where you realize it is you because you are always there.
Right. You the only one showing up
You know what
for
I
the
mean?
buffoonery. It's your show.
You always there. So that means that if the equation was going to ever be right, the first one that I had to add would be myself. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that what changed everything for me. I started counting me first. And see, when I started counting me first, and then I had to now go to the next one, you start the evaluation become different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's easy to start here and then whoa.
Yeah, man.
But then when you start with 2, and then that's a plus, man, is that gonna be a minus this or a plus this?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that began to make the greater difference because I had to start first, man, putting me into the equation if the equation was gonna ever come out right. I couldn't no longer put it on nothing else but me. You know, a lot of people, man, come up to me and they ask me, how did this? Because people knew I did music, did all this. How did you get here? I looked at me. I was in places in my life that, man, I didn't want to be. I was going through phases in my life that I felt was killing me. Yeah, you see this tough outer shell, but inside you don't know what's going on.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying? And inside, I'm literally dying to the point to outside, I'm doing things that can potentially take my life.
the one thing that with transparency, being transparent, is you really just, I advise anybody who's listening to this or watching, viewing, whatever, to just try it for a second. If you deal with hiding it, if you deal with Band-Aids, if you deal with needing validation to be accepted of some sort because you're dealing with something internal, I advise everybody for a minute to try to be transparent, because you don't know, with you being open to who you are, how that's going to help the next person. It's somebody dealing with the same crap that you're dealing with. It's somebody dealing with the same issues that you're dealing with. But because they don't see nobody opening up, all it takes is one. All it takes is for somebody, and especially if you're solid, if you are a solid person, and that everybody looks at it, oh, he's a positive brother. That's a positive sister. She's always speaking this. He's always speaking this. The moment that you put yourself under the gauntlet and you show the world it only takes is one, and somebody will say, well, he did it, I could do it too. When I opened up about suicide, nobody believed Kafre Linwood was trying.
You know what? I never told you, but I was so mad, even though it was real, because we talked almost every day.
Right.
And I even told you that I looked at you like an older brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's one day we laughing, hee-hawing, and then you come back and say, bro, I almost took it there. And I'm like, what? What you talking about?
Yeah.
You like, man, I was out of there, man. I was mad because I was hurt. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, you gonna out you from everybody? Yeah, you're gonna out you from you, but you're gonna out you from everybody that really sees the potential and the value that you carry. And I was shocked. You know what I mean? I never showed it because I knew that there was a time when you was at a vulnerable state and you was working on the healing of it because you was coming openly out with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But inside, man, I was like, man, this somebody who
you would have never looked at me and equated that with me.
Yeah.
But I can't even say, I don't know. The enemy got the best of me. Or I don't know what it was. I was in a space where I didn't want to get out. I was and it's funny when you see people who are crying out for help, woe is me, and then you might have somebody to tell them, hey, this is what you can do to get out of that. And they don't even take that advice. It's because they want to be stuck there. Mm-hmm. At that moment, I wanted to be there. I didn't want nobody calling my line saying, hey, let's talk about it. Hey, it's going to get better. God is setting you up for something greater. Like, I wasn't trying to hear none of that. So I didn't allow myself to even put it out there that I was even hurting at the time. Yeah. I was in a dark, low place. Yeah. And, man, I felt like the only thing for me to do was get up out of here. And I was so ready to do it. I was so braced. But when I started opening up and talking about it, I had a few people came and asked me, like, how did you shake that? And them questioning me and asking me, I knew, yeah, you dealing with it. Yeah, you one of them. So instead of beating them up and pointing the finger, hey, you shouldn't. You have to give people grace. Yeah. In order for a person to be transparent and completely vulnerable to open up to you, even to open up to themselves, you have to have some compassion, and you have to show that, you got to give people some grace, because we don't know what people are going through out here. And these are some times now. Look at our youth. I commend you and Jay and all the brothers who are doing that with those youth, those males, because we are in a trying times with them where if we don't come back and grab them like we should, it's enough guys out here with dresses and doing the opposite things, and they have so much access to social media to where it's showing them the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know, where they leaning on that. They want to be like this person, or sisters too. We got grown women our age who haven't looked inward to themselves to where they have Real Housewives of Atlanta aspirations. You know what I'm saying? Because they haven't had the time to really just see the value of them.
Yeah.
Where do you think filters and stuff come from, bro? Like
Yeah.
these masks, that's what they are. You got to lead with that. If you're on a dating site and you got a giant golf ball sized keloid on the back of your ear, but you got this big flap of hair over it, if I meet you and you come out with that, and I'm like, yo, that's not what I saw. So you know what I'm saying? Lead with that. Open, be transparent. Open up with who you are.
Yeah.
That's with anything.
I mean, this is what I'm gonna say, and we're gonna go to another quick video. I'm gonna say this though, is that scars don't look cute,
No.
but it is the identity of healing. So it's the most beautiful
Facts.
thing that you have. You know what I mean? We're gonna go to a quick video, and then we're gonna be right back.
Like that morning star, hopping out that foreign car like what the hell you doing, boy? Money on my mind, so I never have a boring thought. Chilling with a foreign bro who never eating caviar. Me, I switch my diet up. I am eating half of y'all ain't what that is. So what that is, y'all rapping for. What that is, y'all acting for. I am not attacking y'all. I just gotta keep it really real is what you asking for.
Got to be here.
Come on, man.
Let me get to the money, get to the money, get to the money, get to the money. Let me get to the money, get to the money, get to the money, get to the money. I
Get it, get it, get it, yeah, get it, get it, get it, I get it, get it, get it.
Let me get to the money, baby.
Get it,
Yeah, I say I grew up on the cut, yeah, late night shift, yeah, South Dallas nigga, but I hustled in the cliff, okay, mama kicked me out, daddy he neglected me, teacher say I'm dumb, her fade they projected me, went through a lot, but the pain it perfected me, move pussy nigga, like a hysterectomy, ball with no limit, pressing Miller in his prime, no one on the cut got swagger like mine, hustle so hard, watch the boy do numbers, shitting on niggas, you should probably get a plunger, the hunger is in me, I'm crazy, don't tempt me, my favorite car is the flying spur Bentley. Your girlfriend tripping, wanna fuck me for a purse. I took my own horn, bitch, I don't need yours. They know I'm getting money, so they come around. All I see is pussy like a motherfucking sonogram.
get to the money, get to the money, get to the money, get to the money. Let me get to the money, get to the money, get to the money, get to the money. I
get it, get it, get it, yeah, get it, get it, get it, I get it, get it, get it, I get it, get it, get it.
I say,
I made a vow to my block though, to let the Glock go like Joey Flacco. I had to stop though, to cop though, so let your pops know I'm not Cho, Aries macho. I'm at the top, bro, of Vato.
bitch, I'm Danny Glover. I'm a lethal weapon.
When you light up, yeah, lights all over
We back. That was Seven the Great. I mean, well, shout out to Seven the Great, man, over there in Dixon out of South Dallas. Man, like I was saying before we went, to the video, is that one of the things is that our scars. To us, man, these scars are ugly. We want to hide them. We don't want to show them. We don't want nobody to know. You know what I mean? But the thing about scars is that scars are the actual identity of healing. So it's the most beautiful thing. But what am I depicting as beauty? Is it what society say? Or is it what I naturally know of myself for myself?
Right.
Because it's beautiful that I made it through this.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, man, I talked to these kids yesterday, and a lot of times I show people my hand because I've been shot in the hand. I ain't gonna take my shirt off and show you why I've been stabbed. You know what I mean?
Right.
I went through these things, but one of the things that I've always said is that I never want to know if my children can take some of the things that I had to take. I never want to know if my kids can live through the scars that I had to live through. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's for me to be able to, man, show the beauty of this.
Right.
That you don't have to. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of times, this is what we overlook. We looking at something that identifies healing in your life, recovering in your life. You see it as something ugly. You see it as something unattractive. So now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna make up, right?
Right.
You know, you got cover girls and cover boys because I want to live the makeup life.
Right.
I don't want people to know that. But that's what we have to be willing to share. You know, is the beauty of our life, and sometimes the beauty came from hard situations. The beauty came out of painful, you know what I mean? Okay. As any woman, right?
Right.
If she had a baby and she had it naturally, it was painful.
Right.
It was painful. I've been in the delivery room. You understand what I'm saying? I literally holding hand, looking at a monitor, seeing when you know the contraction finna come to say push, and how to turn my head.
Nah, I wrote it. I wrote it, dog. I was like, woo, wait,
You know
okay.
what I mean? So, but from that pain came the greatest joy.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see this in our natural selves through some of the things that we've been through. So we don't show this. So we don't be that transparent. We rather give you the made up story because it looks good by society.
Yeah.
But at some point, we got to realize what, man, society has did nothing but build us up off of lies.
Man,
And
your character, look, that's physical.
Yeah.
And you put that makeup on. But your character is hideous. You know what I'm saying? So you can walk around with the makeup on, you can walk around with the filters, but the moment you open your mouth or the moment your spirit is around other people and they see that, yo, this character internally is ugly.
Yeah.
So it's like, really, what is it for? At the end, it's going to show who you are in the end. So, I mean, at some point, we all have to deal with transparency. I mean, some people won't. Some people will just continuously ride the train of, you know, just, hey, it is what it is. I'm me. And I hate that when people say, I try to talk people off the ledge with that one. I'm me. Yeah, you can change. If you have a willingness, you can correct a lot of things about yourself.
It's
And that
like
comes
one
from
of
having
the
a
things that
willingness.
I do, man, and I don't even mean to put you on the spot, but I am. Because I want people to be able to see this, right?
Go ahead.
You know, when you're talking about being transparent, right?
Go ahead.
In your life right now,
Right.
what are you overcoming?
One of the biggest fears, one of the things I'm overcoming is beating myself up. I don't give myself credit for anything.
Why?
I'm not really into validation like that, and I've let me put it to you like this, since we're being transparent. Love, I fear it. I fear it because I've never seen it really in the form that I would like to. So one of the things I'm overcoming is, I've been overcoming it, is to take off these cinder block shoes I got on. I mean, no, let me run it back. Take off these Nikes, these track shoes, and put on me some concrete cinder blocks so I can just be still. I'm a runner by design. I admit it. It's one of the most things that I hate, and that's a harsh word, but that's one of the things I hate about me, is that I fear love. I fear love because I've never seen it in the essence of which I think it's supposed to be displayed, and that's from the absence of mother, fathers, just certain ways my grandmother displayed love. She wasn't an affectionate person. So I know a lot of people, and it has some envy. I have developed an envious spirit to some people who have those mothers and fathers or those grandparents who are loving, because my grandmother was hard as nails. Like, even in her later years, she really wasn't affectionate. You go in there, hey, my dear, and try to hug on her, she push you out. She wasn't that type of person. And one of the things I'm dealing with right now is I'm hard on myself. I don't be feeling like I deserve anything because of it goes back to what you said a minute ago real quick. Those repetitive cycles. Even when you knew that you could do good, you just went to the bad because it seemed like good wasn't working for you. So for me, it's internally I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with the fear of love and the fear of actually coming out of who I am to be who I'm supposed to be. Right. Because I feel like I keep hitting these repetitive brick walls and I don't know where to start or how to even go forward.
Right.
I'm just in this circle.
And when you say that you fear love.
Feared, I'm scared of it.
And you say that you're scared of it. But you're not saying you don't want it.
I'm not saying I don't want it, but I fear it. Like I said.
It is something that you want.
Of course.
How can you receive it? And we got a call right quick. I think that call may have saved you. Caller.
Hey now, say now, man. Hey, boy, I was like, I better not miss this show right here.
What up, Jay?
What's going on, bro?
What's up, y'all?
What's happening, bro?
I just want to just say this real quick, and I ain't I know it's getting winding down to the last of it. Just want to say I'm proud of y'all too, man. Y'all are truly my brothers. I'm proud of y'all, man. Keep up the good work. And let y'all know, man, I'm backing y'all, and whatever plays y'all make, man, y'all can count on me to block for you.
I appreciate that, bro.
I mean, you know, you got that Nate Newton type thing about you.
There you go.
We need we need a Michael Orr out there, bro. We need some blindsiders. So we appreciate you, bro. I love you, man.
All right, man. Love you too, man. Y'all be good, man.
All right, bro.
Man, Trainsition Talk.
Appreciate you, bro, for calling in, man. Love you, man. But yeah, so he made that real quick. We right
one time for Jay.
We right back at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is what transparency look like. And this is what I say because there's a way that we can become transparent. It's just knowing how. You know what I'm saying? And you said something, you know, just off of a simple question that automatically brought you to, you know what I mean, out of the covers. And so I'm going to ask, and I'm asking you, what is it about love that is fearful when it's something that you want? Because how are you going to receive it, something that you want, if you're afraid of it?
I truly can't answer that question. I think it comes from actually being vulnerable in certain situations and maybe being let down. And the pain from that is the pain from that wanting and desiring that type of love and even giving. My love language is acts of service and physical touch, but I've always wanted it, brother. Not necessarily from a woman, but even from my mom. And I've been open about the relationship with me and my mother. You know, to have the absence of a mother that's pretty tough, bro. And then, you know, it had got to a point to where it was like, she back, love you, and then leave again. So I think it's, for me, is to be vulnerable and be open to receive it, and then be let down.
So you remember Friday night? It was it's very old, but Friday Night Live. Eddie Murphy was on there, and he played Buckwheat.
Yeah,
and he was singing this song, "Whoopie Panub and all the
wrong places.
He was saying, "Looking for love in all the wrong places." You know, this is the thing. When I feel as though it should come from somewhere, and it didn't come from there, I'm broken by that. But how can something give me something that it doesn't have to give me? Just because it has a title don't mean that I'm entitled to it.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Which means that for me, it may be in a different placement than where I'm placed at. So I have to be willing to grow and go to receive. But am I open to the receiving? See, love is something that just is, but am I willing? Love is something that has taken a lot of us outside of ourselves because of where we felt or what we thought or where we wanted it to come from. Because it had a title and we felt entitled. But just because it had a title don't mean that I was entitled to that.
True that.
I'm entitled to me. So that first love has to come from me. And me knowing how to love myself. And then be the attractor of the love that I am. Not the love that I want. It's the love that I need. You know, and man, I wish we had more time. But we at the very end, man. I thank you, bro, for coming.
Always.
You got anything that you want to say, man, you know, go ahead. Let them know who you are, where they can get with you, you know, the things that you're doing. Because I didn't even let y'all know he's a poet. He's an artist. I mean, like one of the dopest artists, man, that I've ever came across. He even made me stop drawing when I was in elementary school. So that's how good he is.
Yeah, you can reach me on Instagram at Frebo, the Black Artist. That's Frebo, the Black Artist. And you can see some of my work there. I've stopped painting for a minute to start working on a book about love, actually, and my fear of it. So I don't know exactly when that's coming, but I'm working on that as well. And that's about it, man. Just I'm in the reset phase of my life. So, you know, if I can encourage anyone today is to look inward. If you're going through some things, look inward, talk to God about it. And, you know, that's it. Change comes about when you are willing to make the change. So I'll leave y'all with that.
Man, I appreciate you guys again for tuning in this Sunday on the Trainsition Talk Show. I want to say we'll be back next Sunday. I'm not exactly sure because we won't be here the week of Mother's Day. But if it's not Mother's Day, then we'll be here. You know, hey, blame it to the calendar. Don't blame it to me. So, but thank you guys for tuning in, man. We'll see you again. Peace.
On some real shit, I know you and your feelings, and I know you be willing, but I'm a lot to deal with. So I'm leaving, I swear you're not the reason. I'm dealing with some demons, I can't believe you're still here. I don't wanna put you through nothing else. If we don't work out, I want you to have something left. Keep pushing, you gon' run out of breath. Ooh. If you don't wanna hurt no more, if you don't want me on your nerves no more, you better run now. Run now. If you don't wanna hurt no more, if you don't want me on your nerves no more, you better run out. Why don't you save yourself? Get away from me. Why don't you save yourself? Get away from me. You better run out the door while you still can. Ain't no one stopping you. You stay with me, it's suicide. I'm just wanting you. And I know you probably wonder why I'm telling you this. You can do better with another guy if you stop being foolish and stupid. But to separate from me, I'm way too toxic. Got a lot of weight on me, I ain't processed. Oh, she ain't going nowhere, she got all my made up. Been through so much over love. Been through so much, I had enough. Why don't you save yourself? Get away from me.